They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Air, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Dead Air, a horror podcast. My name is Chris Costello and I'm one of your hosts for this podcast. I usually call myself the horror fanatic. That means of the three hosts, I am the one obsessed with the genre. And I'm joined by my other co-host. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Erin, and I am the fan of horror movies. And I did not go to school to study film. So for those listening, us peasants in the industry, not knowing anything. For example, can I just give an example? These guys are saying, we're not like that, we're not like that. But just a few days ago, they were like, oh yeah, James Cameron likes doing this to his leading ladies. Oh, doing what? He does this on the reg? I didn't know that. See, things like that, I don't know. So for the listeners who are peasants such as myself or fans, I am here for you. And here we are joined by a person who has developed very nicely over the past year.
Over the pandemic, I have a good character arc. Hi, I'm Miguel Nashansena. I love watching movies, but horror movies are a blind spot because I am terrified by them.
Boom. There you go.
Boom. That was his intro.
Got
it. It's always such a great intro, but I'm never sure if that's your punchline. But it's always so good. So we've got this is gonna be a fun episode because I think the movie that our guest chose kind of broke one of our hosts. So we're gonna get into that in a bit. But so yeah, it's gonna be fun. Actually, right before we introduce our host, we're gonna play you a real-time supercut of one of our hosts' reactions to while she was watching the film. So roll the tape, producers.
Yo, what the fuck is this even horror? I was expecting ghosts and shit. How is this so graphic? Oh my god. It's so fucked up. Oh my god.
This was not what I expected at all.
Yeah, so that was Erin reacting to the movie as she was watching it in real time. So that's super fun. And this movie was chosen by our guest, who it's such an honor to have him on. He's a producer and a director. You probably know him from the 2015 independent movie Apocalypse Child. Just fucking incredible. You guys should check that out, by the way. So yes, please welcome Mario Cornejo to the podcast. Hello, sir. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for
joining us.
Sure. It's exciting.
Yes, this is exciting for us because this will be a fun episode to record based on our reactions
while watching
as we were watching it. While watching this incredible choice that you gave us. So that for me, like that's one of the most fun parts about this podcast is like whenever Miguel and Erin, my co-hosts, whenever they watch a movie for the first time, and they just start tweeting or like sending us reactions of how they're taking in the movie. And this is by far the wildest reactions that we've got, set of reactions that we got from both of them.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm so glad you're the first time man and woman. So I want to see how they differed. Because I think those two will see it very differently.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So Mario, thank you again for coming on. It's really, really cool to have you on. One of the first things we asked of our guests when we try to get to know him is what is your horror origin story? So how did you get into horror in any shape or form?
I'll just tell you.
So please tell us.
Well, maybe the first horror that I ever remember seeing was when I was a kid. It was a late night television thing, and it was horrifying, and I never watched it again. I must have been about, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 years old. It was called Jacob's Ladder. I think it's a horror film because it scared the shit out of me when I was a little boy. And I never revisited it. So I avoided it for the longest time until the famous slasher Friday the 13th stuff started becoming big, and Nightmare on Elm Street. When that started becoming big, then I came back into it. But the first experience of it was that terrifying film that I still don't know exactly what it's about. I've never Googled it.
So I Google it
This
now.
must be so freaky then.
It is.
Because your choice.
Well, I was also 8 or
Jacob's
9 or whatever. it
Oh,
was.
okay.
I forget how old I
Tama
was. I forget how old. But yeah, it was terrifying.
This is again. It was. But your choice too is pretty terrifying because it's the first time I've ever seen our co-host Aaron react like that to anything in life.
Usually higher tolerance.
Yeah, so I'm
than
sure
me.
she had a lot of fun.
Yeah. This time around, bumaliktad. And I'm kind of proud of that.
We'll get there. Relax.
Okay.
So Mario, let us know what movie you chose. Let the listeners know and why you chose it.
So I chose Audition by Takashi Miike. And the reason I chose it is because when I saw it, maybe I didn't see it when it came out. It came out like in the late 90s or something like that, or 1999. But I didn't see it then. I saw it on DVD a few years later. So when I saw it, it was kind of my first experience with this kind of horror. I had never seen anything like it before. Not only that, but a major reason is because I also was trying. Well, at that time that I saw it, I had not directed anything for money, but I was trying to be a director. So I was in production. I had done maybe AD work. I had done. I directed tiny things, and I had been an apprentice to a director. So seeing it and kind of, knowing that in a real way, this is my greatest fear. This is every director's greatest fucking fear, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we're all guilty. We are all guilty of. I mean, I'm not saying because I've held auditions as an AD, and as I've, you're always there. There's always this power imbalance when you are producing something, and there's a woman, and most of the time in advertising, which is my main job, you're auditioning beautiful women, and there's this huge power imbalance, and you feel it, and you can't deny it. And so, while that was the world I wanted to enter, and in a real way, I had entered it by then. I'd been an apprentice, I'd been an AD. Maybe I hadn't done a big feature yet or directed anything huge, but I had directed people. So it just spoke to my deepest fears of this huge, exactly that power imbalance. The knowing that this power imbalance existed, and that was I taking advantage of it? Maybe. I think we all are. I mean, anyone who's in a real way, right? So it's just a small step. The premise of the film sounds so innocent about a director or a filmmaker, heartbroken, who's, and auditioning somebody to be his new wife. It sounds like could be a rom-com, right?
Yes.
Because people will take it like nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it started out looking like a rom-com, actually.
Yeah.
Especially even during the auditions, the music that was playing was so jolly. So it took a while. And I was really wondering, is she dead? Because she's always in white. Like, what is this? Is she a ghost or something? So it really messes with your head because you don't know what's gonna come next. But
I would argue it starts like almost a parody of a drama, right?
Yes.
It's like, the flowers and the death, and it's almost like a parody. If you're making a joke about a dramatic scene, you could shoot it like that. Like this,
Parang malaala mo kaya?
Super.
Yeah.
Or
He's
worse,
he's like kneeling in front of her, on the bed. Like
he walls on the bed when he turns around and just slouches on the bed when the sun comes in. It's like walling, but on a bed.
Exactly.
When you lean back in her horror, but he's on a bed, and when the kid comes in, it's so over the top. It's so melodramatic in the beginning.
Melodramatic. I mean, the kid comes in with a gift for his mother.
I brought
With a
something
project
for mom. Like,
it's my school project.
Yeah,
I want her to see it, and she's dead. Yeah.
And then even if the movie's like 7 years in the future or forward, but it's like a nice father-son movie, like bonding over.
That's what you said.
That's
what you said. Wow, it's a father-son movie.
That's my live reaction to the guys.
Okay.
Am I watching the right movie? It's like a nice father-son thing. Like,
Yeah. Ganda.
I particularly found the scene where he started looking through their bios really funny, because in my head I was like, oh, it's like sinaunang Tinder. Interesting. How will he know if they match? Do they mail each other? And if you don't get the mail, hindi kami match.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, I love how it says so much about him, actually, that he chose the fucking freakiest girl in the bunch. Like, there's so many normal women, and he's like,
and he picked the one with the
one
by one picture.
Exactly.
Everyone had full body, just posing.
I want the dark one.
I was gonna say, hindi man lang CV eh. Biodata siya eh. Hindi siya CV eh. Yeah.
No, but she played perfectly into what your impression would be of being a good guy, right? This is what a good guy would like, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what so it really pierces also that illusion. I mean, it deconstructs that idea of he's just a good guy looking for a wife. He did one little thing. But it's like, she knew, I mean, it's so Gone Girl.
Knew.
It's Gone Girl also, right?
Yeah.
In a way, it's that same idea.
Yeah.
I found that so chamba though, because his coffee spilled on the paper and that's how he found her. So, wala lang.
That's true. Is it about being random? How you happen to choose the wrong person and then it'll just ruin your life? Maybe, if you think about it that way.
But I think he also goes on to say that he read her essay and then it moved him. Parang he had the line like, she knows what it is like to fail in life or to do badly. And parang, wow, this guy, even if it's like doing such a jerk thing to do, parang he's looking for love.
Okay, I guess, has everyone seen Sleepless in Seattle? This is a weird time.
Yeah.
All right. So remember when the little kid when Tom Hanks says to the kid, "You found someone for me? You just found someone off the radio?" And he's mad. And then he goes like, "Did you see Fatal Attraction? You wouldn't let me." Well, I did, and it scared every man in America. Because, again, right, it's that male fear.
Yeah.
In Fatal Attraction, one man had an affair, and then you choose the wrong girl, and it's going to ruin your life. Right? I mean, it's going to fuck up everything. It's kind of it's a thing male directors love to talk about because we're so guilty.
Yeah.
Because we have all that guilt. So
I think that this is why also it is a perfect. Number one, it's a perfect movie for direct. I'm gonna call you direct because it relates to that for you to choose for you to bring this here because you have a very unique point of view for this particular storyline, which is the whole premise of the film is someone is an exploitative director. Like, how do you see that? I mean, you started off actually kind of teasing that here in the first few minutes, saying that we're all guilty of that. I
think we are. Absolutely, we are. Okay, every male in a power position with a power imbalance has that. But especially, let's think about directing. Your job. If the person who's auditioning is nice to me, I'll give them a job. Yes. And most of them are. I mean, if you're auditioning for a movie or a commercial or a television show, most of them are beautiful young women.
Yes.
And what are we? Well, I'll say middle-aged for me. Middle-aged men, right? Mm-hmm. So we have these young women and it's constant. I do know it's something that I try to I try to guard myself about because
you're aware of it.
Yeah. I try to be aware of it.
Yeah.
I've done films where I've done scenes where people have to kiss. I've done scenes with nudity, sex scenes, all that. And, it's a real thing. Monster, again, I have my partner in filmmaking, Monster. We do films together, but I'm so uncomfortable with the power imbalance. And, that's not me being a good guy. That's me being guilty.
Yeah.
I'm so uncomfortable with this power imbalance that sometimes it's like we've done this and this is embarrassing, but we've said, we kind of need to see your body and I will leave the room, right? And Monster will be the one talking to them, dealing with them during those moments. Yeah. And all these young starlets are so used to it. They're surprised they leave. But we do that anyway in Monster, just essentially the one who does. But again, if I were a pure soul, I just stay in the room. It's like, why? Yeah. This is work, and I have no guilt about this. This isn't. But so it's because of my own.
You leave.
Yeah, it's my own insecurity. It's in my own guilt. It's my own discomfort with this power imbalance, right? That makes me leave. Again, it's not because I'm good, right? It's because I'm guilty. I feel guilty. So, perfect movie for me.
Absolutely.
The Audition is absolutely perfect for me. I mean, it preys on all of my fears, all of my self-doubts, all of my own, all of that stuff. It just reads right into me.
So you're absolutely right. I'm so thankful you brought this. I think we can get a lot of insights from you as a director and as a male director too. Because there's I read somewhere where like there are basically two readings of this film. There's a misogynistic reading and there's a feminist reading.
Yeah, super opposites, no? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It starts off, it's very misogynistic, but then you can also think about it in of her. When she's just fucking taking revenge on all these men who have really taken advantage of her. So that's also a feminist reading of that. But I mean, like, I just touched on that and I would really want to hear more of what you guys think about that. But before that, I know Mario gave us kind of a tease about the premise, but I would really love for Aaron to kind of sum things up and just give us her own interpretation of what the movie is about.
All right.
It's so good to be on the other side of this now, hearing the summary instead of giving it. Go for it.
Well, if you needed proof that I watched it, just look at our thread. That was proof.
I know.
Anyway, so the story starts out with a guy in a hospital bed with his wife who is sick and dying. She dies. And their son is walking in. Like we said earlier, it's very melodramatic. The son finds out his mom's dead and they kind of have to deal with that. Fast forward to 7 years later, the son's like, Dad, you look kind of sad. I think you need a girl. You need to get married. And so I guess the dad's like, yeah, you know what? I am sad. I do need a girl. He talks to his friend. He's like, dude, I need a girl.
Let's go
and
exploit some young actress.
Yeah. So he even asks, how young?
Yeah.
Like, so
and what
gross.
are your criteria? May ganun pa eh.
Yeah. And then his criteria is so, I want her to be an artist. I want her to either paint or dance or play the piano, but not good enough that she's professional.
Yeah.
Yung sakto lang. Like, here in the house.
I don't want a strong woman. I want someone I can mold.
Yeah.
Diba? Pang-ambient music lang sa bahay, kumbaga. So, the friends like, let's have an audition. Because, I've done this before.
Fake movie.
We can collect all these girls, but you can't have the lead. You can't. Kasi if she's the lead, she'll be happy.
She won't want to be with you.
Ones. Yeah,
you need
diba?
someone unhappy to be with you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would they be with you?
Yeah. Actually, no. He said that the unhappy ones make better actresses. He said something like that. Like the unhappy ones make better actresses.
Yes. Is that
Diba?
true?
So,
It was very high level negging.
High level negging.
Yeah. Diba? So they hold the audition and he sends the resumes and the biodatas of all these girls. And he's looking through them at home. And then his coffee spills on this one biodata. And he starts with the essay. He doesn't look at the picture first. He starts with the essay. And it's a very riveting essay to him, which is weird. Parang she was a broken girl in the essay. And he was like, ooh, broken chick. I like this. So he really waits for her in the audition. She's something like number 28 out of 30. They go through the audition and the audition looks like parang bring it on type auditions. There are some funny ones. There are some really weird ones. It gets misogynistic because they show pangit ones and then their faces are just like that. Yep. Some girls are taking off their clothes. And then, his ideal one comes in. She's so quiet and obedient and docile. Obedient is a word that they use a lot, by the way. She must be obedient. So she seems obedient, ganon.
I mean, women should be naman talaga, right?
Diba? We have to obey. We have to obey only what the male says.
Yeah.
That's the way our lives work. Patriarchy.
I hope my wife never listens to this episode.
So he takes her out on a date And then fast forward, parang he gets really obsessed with her. And then she gets really obsessed with him to the point that she's waiting for his call. Just waiting. Like the phone is there and then she's waiting for his call. And then some funny stuff shows up. Like moving bag. What is that? Moving bag. So you start to think, oh, is this a supernatural movie? Because there's a moving bag. And she's just there in her corner smiling when she gets the call. So later on, we realize, okay, parang they have sex. Fast forward. They have sex. And then she disappears. So he's like, where did she go? So he goes to the street where he drops her off. He never sees her house. Goes to the street. Then he finds some abandoned house and hears a piano. So he goes in and he sees some footless man playing the piano who starts scaring him, saying, oh, you had sex with her. Oh, shit. You had sex with her. Oh, shit. Go to the bar. So he goes to the bar where she works. And then you see that it's closed. And another guy is like, oh, dude, the owner of that place, she died. She was murdered. Okay. And then it was such a bloodbath. But there was extra fingers, tatlo, an extra ear, and a tongue.
That had no
owner.
Yeah. Hindi naman piece together in the puzzle, in the physical puzzle. You know?
Some disembodied stuff, right? But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. I love her. I love you, Asami. So he starts looking for Asami. I don't care. And then we find out through dreams for some reason, parang he's dreaming, that this Asami was tortured and abused as a child. Oh, she tells him she was abused by her tito and he burned her near her vagina as a child. And,
as a child.
As a child, and it was such a traumatic experience. She pours herself to him and says, you only love me, right? Me lang, diba? Promise. And he's like, yeah, of course. Fast forward to, I forgot, wait, why did she dress up in leather biglaan after the date?
What happened pala, I had to Google, parang she visited his house without him in it. You know that?
Yep.
There was like a scene where the camera was just POV.
Yes. Oh,
Yep,
I hate that they killed the fucking dog again. They should stop making movies with dead dogs.
Man, this is a recurring thing with Erin. Like, she hates it when like she only cares if an animal is killed and she doesn't give a shit.
Or
about
a baby. Animal or baby.
Yeah.
When I watch it again, I was like, oh fuck, Erin's gonna hate this. Called it.
It's like the John Wick of podcasts.
Dude, establishing the dog pa lang. Hi gang. Me and my roommate were like, tang ina, may mangyayari dito. I know it. So anyway, she kills the dog, fucking bitch. And then so she visits his house, and then when he why did she visit his house?
Because she's a bit obsessed and crazy at this point. But she also sees a picture of his wife, and that flips her. That's wow, the guys, look at me filling in with details. and then she flips out and decides to spike his drink.
Yes, so she spikes his drink, and then suddenly she's in leather with this nice little briefcase with some items in it. Oh, but before that, I'm so sorry. Before that, we find out what's in the fucking bag. Okay, so the bag opens and she's vomiting in the corner. Asami's vomiting in the corner. And then you see what she's vomiting into. She's vomiting into a bowl to feed what is in the bag. Now, what's in the bag? There is a man in the bag missing 3 fingers, an ear, and a tongue. And he swallows up her vomit like it's delicious.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
That scene literally made me go. I was going like that. So anyway, So he's on the floor, paralyzed because she said, whatever you had, I'm injecting you with this thing that's going to paralyze you, but you still feel pain because you need to feel pain. Because I felt pain. So you gotta feel some pain. So she takes out needles and puts it deep into his belly, several, going kitty, 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 which means deeper, 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 kitty, kitty, kitty. Oh no, my internet is failing me, but I'm gonna continue the story.
We're good. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Needle.
Oh, this is a fantastic.
Okay.
Let's screenshot it.
Screen grab. Someone screen cap this.
I'm gonna take this. Yep.
There it is.
Oh shit!
There it is.
Oh damn!
I got it. I'll put it in the chat.
So anyway, this has been recording, and she puts needles into his belly, and it's the most painful part. And then she starts putting it under his eye and tapping it, and
So
then
good.
she goes on top of him with the needles on his belly. And if you think it's over, no, she doesn't want him to escape. So she gets a wire that can cut into flesh
And bone.
cuts off his foot. And then it does a flashback. She did that to her tito, cut off his head with this wire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a happy ending naman. She dies. The son comes in and pushes her off the stairs.
Ganda.
But I mean, yeah, I think that was
Yep.
the full synopsis with
I think
details.
I think we can.
So-
I think with confidence we can say that Aaron has seen this film.
Aaron,
Yes.
yes.
She's
She
seen
has
it.
watched
fresh in my mind.
The movie that traumatized her. The only
To be
movie so
fair,
far.
To be fair,
Yes.
I don't hate it. I don't.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just I don't. It's just it
Unexpected.
affected me in
Yeah.
such a way.
So
But-
graphic, yeah.
Interestingly, when you were talking about how you're a director and it's so normal for you for girls to come in and audition, I agree. That entire scene when the girls were auditioning, I was like, oh yeah, this looks like a regular audition, except when the
Regular
girl started
audition.
taking off her clothes. But I was like, yeah,
I've
this
had
happens.
auditions like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So it was very wala lang for me to see the audition process. I was like, okay, yeah.
We've had an audition where we just needed to see the body shape because it's for a body thing in Monster. So we just said, can we see your body? Is it okay? We just meant underwear, maybe take off your shirt.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't in the room. But Monster came out, it's like, she just stripped completely because as a starlet or whatever, one of
She
those
used-
guys,
yeah.
it's just, I'm just going to
Yeah.
take it off.
So you know that
I mean-
that's been asked of her so many times before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shit.
It's normal in go-sees, not just for movies, but like for modeling and stuff
Modeling.
like that. So it's wala lang.
Nothing.
Pero I'm
normal.
sure they get to keep their underwear on, Aaron.
The one of Monster, no, took off the top.
Yeah.
Not really. Because sometimes they'll be like, you can't see the seams of your underwear through the dress. And it's true naman. Like, it's valid. You see the dress,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, you can't see. So you gotta do it. So it
Okay.
is pretty normal. But I guess it's the malice that is put into the heads that
Yeah.
makes it weird. Which is why I'm super comfortable. Like, if I'm working with gay guys, they're just like, okay, tanggalin mo yan. Like, okay, no
Yep.
problem.
Yeah.
But
Got it.
it is a little apprehensive when there's just a random straight man sitting there. Like, what are you doing here?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, in the beginning of this movie nga, parang when I didn't realize it was gonna make a wild turn into being a revenge and torture movie, parang I'm like, wow, this is like an awful guy movie. Like parang,
Yeah.
parang when I wasn't sure that the movie was self-aware, parang, oh, they're awful. Like, parang,
Yeah.
They're
and
awful.
this-
Men are trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, men are, parang, and I guess this is one of the, and then later
And
on,
it's so normal pa for you. Oh yeah, it's one of those movies.
Yeah.
oh yeah, like
No.
parang, oh my god, I checked the year pa when was this made, 1999.
99.
Yeah, people weren't so aware, parang weren't so
Yeah.
politically correct pa. And
Back then, he would have seemed like a great guy, normal
Yeah.
great guy. He's like,
Yeah.
he's just looking for
Yeah.
love.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Just
Exactly.
looking for love.
Yes.
Actually, galing nga kasi for a movie made in 1999, parang that sort of low-level toxicity, parang na-identify na. But
Yeah.
if we had seen that in 99, parang, wow, why'd she pick on this guy? He
Yeah.
seems like a nice guy.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Diba in
Yeah.
99, you would have said, but fuck, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah,
you would
Yeah.
think every
To be fair.
Yeah,
To be
but
fair,
you
to
would
be fair.
completely think that she is like an absolute villain and the guy was
Yeah.
innocent and
Yeah,
He's
I
just
didn't
looking
deserve
for
that.
love.
absolutely agree. Yeah.
Just looking to replace his poor dead wife.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Tapos, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Mario.
oh yeah, so yeah, that's a. I mean, it's amazing. I'm trying to remember what I felt then. I do believe I don't pretend to be super woke. I mean, I
Yeah.
must have seen this about 2001, 2002, maybe
Mhm.
when it came out on DVD. So I do know that the guilt when I was watching it, I felt the guilt. So I know,
Mm.
it wasn't. I had at least an inkling, but of course, 15 years later, 20 years later, it's a completely different film
Yeah.
Mhm.
in nowadays with the Me Too movement, especially.
Yeah.
Well, I would
But
love
still relevant. Even if it was
Extremely.
made before, still relevant.
I would love to delve deeper into that statement, Mario. I realized when I was I told you about that review I read where it said that you can read it as a misogynistic film or as a feminist film, and then you kind of reacted. I saw on the film on screen, you kind of reacted like, I would love to hear what you think about that.
I mean, I guess you could think of it as a misogynist. I mean, I think it was. I'd like to think, because I'm basing sheerly on my experience, that the director at the time that he was making the film was in the same space that I was when I was watching it, coming from the guilt at least, trying to address the real misogyny that exists, trying to address this whole power imbalance. And when I watch the film again now, I think there are clues all along that absolutely he was. But so to see it as a feminist film because it addresses misogyny. There's a ton of misogyny in the film.
Yes.
So I can look at it as a feminist film because I don't think it's unaware misogyny. I don't think. I mean, it can't be.
It's very aware.
It
Because
can't be, right?
even in the questioning, the way they were asking questions to the girls,
Yeah.
they were calling that out to each other. Oh, that's a weird question to ask during audition.
I do think there may have been some moments of just pure misogyny coming straight from the filmmakers, playing the less good-looking auditioner for a laugh, for example.
Sure.
Yes.
Now, are they super aware of what they're doing? How misogynist that is? Just because they're addressing the power imbalance and looking at that level of misogyny, does that mean they're also aware of when they're playing it for a laugh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Because it was 1999.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think to a certain extent, Japan is still a little weird when it comes to that.
Very.
I mean, the trends and the things that the women wear for the men, it's strange. So I don't know if they're in the same space as the rest of the world yet. But I don't know. I don't know
either. But I do know the times when I would visit Japan, I would talk to, let's say, because I would go there for festivals and we talk to the people who are there, tell us about the culture and whatnot. But mainstream Japan still is woman walks behind the men, right? I think that's still mainstream Japan. I'm not sure. Like if there's a group of men and a group of the women walk a little bit behind. I mean, it's kind of ingrained from what they told me before. Maybe things are changing, but I think you can't deny the history of misogyny in Japan.
Yeah.
At least whatever's happening now, I don't know.
So I think that's why. That's why I kind of like usually Mario. I'm the guy who really super I really super get afraid of horror films. Like it's not my it's not my thing. But this one really had me engaged the whole time as much as I could because for me, sure, it turned out to be a revenge and torture movie. But prior to that, I felt like I was watching a sort of window into a culture, a subculture maybe, or a certain behavior of a culture. But that's how I saw it. Like, and then whatever horrors that came out of that is a bit of a, the whatever is inside is acting up lang. Like whatever Freudian thing is inside their heads, it's acting up. So that's why I kind of enjoyed this film a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I was glad I was able to introduce something that was a little...
Yeah.
I mean... Did you have any other female revenge films so far? I mean, that's a real genre.
No.
But I do love the genre.
It's a real genre.
I love it.
I love it.
Female revenge.
Hard Candy.
I love
Promising Young Woman.
I haven't seen that yet.
Have you seen
It's
Revenge?
intense.
Like literally the film Revenge?
No, I've not
By
seen Revenge.
the French director, female director. Oh God, it is so good. Mario, let me send you a link later on.
Sure.
But yeah, it's incredible. You guys would love it. So, are you guys? Sorry, Aaron. You wanted a question? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because Miguel enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. Enjoy is not the adjective, the verb that I did when I was watching the movie.
Okay,
also because I felt I mean, it was just so graphic. It was so intense. That's the part that got to me. It was wow. I mean, girl, I know you went through some pain. But, why don't you talk to a therapist, work your issues out? It was just it's so crazy.
Well, the day I got this DVD, I watched it first. I was home. Monster was out working. And then another friend of ours, anyway. So I was watching it at home and it's like, this is amazing. This is horrifying. This is like maybe the most disturbing film I've seen in so long. was so affecting to me that as soon as Monster came home, she came, I think, with a friend of ours, so who was also a girl. And then I said, "Oh, you have to watch this film. You have to watch it. It's like it's the most intense thing." Yeah. It's like, "What? Are you sure?" Yeah. And it's like I kind of really forced them. You have to watch this film. It's so amazing. And they watched it, and honestly, their reaction was whatever. Because it's like, I mean, they were making fun, like the most horrifying moments, like the sound. What is that? Yeah. They were making fun of it. You know, it's like, that's why I was saying, maybe women look at it differently because they don't have the guilt and the shame. And I mean, I'm sure you have guilt and shame, but not guilt and shame
related to this. Yeah,
related to this, this kind of power imbalance in what you do. So that was my thought of what. I mean, that's what I assume was happening. Why my friends saw it so differently than I did.
That's perfectly valid. Yeah,
they were laughing at me. I said it's horrifying, and they were laughing. So it's like, whatever. So they were, why are you scared of me? So that's why I'm happy Aaron found it affecting at least.
I did.
Am I happy? But anyway,
so much blood and decapitation. That's also not my favorite genre. Kasi I don't watch Saw.
Torture.
Torture porn and stuff like that. It's not really my thing.
Me too.
Perfect segue. Actually. First of all, are you a fan of Takashi Miike at all, Mario?
After this, that was the first film I'd seen. After this, I only saw Ichi the Killer, and then that's it. After Ichi, I didn't watch anymore. I think it was this one felt right. You know what I mean? For me, I can imagine people loving Ichi, but it wasn't for me. It didn't seem to. It wasn't what it didn't attack my primal fears.
Yeah,
right? Ichi was just like Did everyone see Ichi the Killer? It's kind of his other famous film, right? Oh, anyway,
Ichi.
It's just about a man who's programmed, and it's about violence, and it's just about film violence. But in my mind, it wasn't as like visceral, as like primal as this was for me, because maybe I'm not a serial killer, but I am a director.
So I said it was a perfect segue because sorry to go all film on you, Aaron, but
go ahead.
He's very very known for gore. Okay, he also did 13 Assassins, which is an incredible samurai movie. Oh, so good, extremely gory. But when we were talking about this film on our group, PV, our producer, said that basically it's torture porn. Audition is torture. I never thought of Audition as being torture porn. And I was like, yes, it is torture porn. It's absolutely torture porn. So when I read up on it, fucking Eli Roth absolutely credits this as one of his seminal films.
Yeah.
So this could be the birth of torture porn. Really?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean,
it's possible. Yeah.
If torture porn, if the poster child of torture porn is probably Hostel or Saw, it's probably Hostel, I think. And took it to the extreme. And then, Eli Roth says that this is really what kind of made him as a filmmaker. This is probably the start of torture porn. So what do you guys think of torture porn in general?
Wait, I was talking to PV about that before you guys went online. Like, we were saying na parang, oh shit, parang ako yata yung nag-influence kay Eli Roth nga for stuff. But we were saying, like, while Eli Roth focused on the torture porn nga, and that became the gore. That became the sort of core of his story. For this particular movie, for Audition, parang it was a feature, but it wasn't the main thing. So
it wasn't main attraction.
Yeah. For me, parang the whole thing was still about this. It was actually, for us, Aaron also, it's actually an emotional movie. Parang it's about sad people with past traumas, and it's affecting how they relate to each other. Basically, they torture each other. Hey, no, I got this. And then parang. And then torture and revenge becomes a feature of it. So parang that's why it's moved. Maybe moving is the wrong word. That's why it's affecting versus Eli Roth, an Eli Roth movie na parang oh shit, parang it's a bit of a spectacle.
Yeah.
I in general I hate torture porn. I really dislike it as a genre. And I think it's hard to describe this as torture porn because I mean that climax is, but
it's almost 30
contrast.
Minutes. Yeah. It's almost a third of the film. I mean, it's a fourth of the film.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a contrast because it starts off like a, like a rom-com. And then like it's drama. But like an Eli Roth film is just like fucking gallons of blood and people screaming. And it's just, there's no contrast anymore. So it's not even shocking to me. It's just disgusting. Mm-hmm. Here, it's more visceral for me. Like the emotion I get out of seeing what's his name get the needles in his eye and how he's reacting. That's more shocking to me than 2 hours of teens getting their throats slit and a woman bathing in their blood. Like I can't stand that stuff at all.
From the time he takes the drink and falls till the end of the film, it's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, which is essentially all scenes of, I guess, torture and gore.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is also, I watched the sequence again, and it didn't register for me when I'd seen it maybe twice only. That first time I saw it when I told Monster and Corinne to go watch it, and then another time after that, maybe within a few months. So it's like more than 15 years. Or no, I'm sorry, less than 2008. I don't know. When did I watch them? Anyway, 2002, somewhere there.
Yeah.
The point being, when I did watch it, and then I saw, and I didn't realize when I watched it again how weird that 30 minutes is. It's super surreal.
It's so surreal.
Yeah, it's really postmodern. Because from the time he takes from the time he's drugged, what we see are scenes from previous dates that didn't exist in the date that told a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw scenes of him. That scene when he sees the guy come out of the sack and she vomits into the bowl.
Yeah.
That's in her house.
Yeah.
That's not in Aoyama's house. It's not in his house.
Oh, it's in his house.
It's not in his house. It's in her house.
It's in her house. Yeah.
It's in her house.
Yeah.
That's why he's not there. That sack's not there in the end either.
Yeah.
Because so there's this weird thing going on. And of course, aside from that, the things that we assume are visions, like him having sex with a young, pretty girlfriend of his son. You get it? There's so much of the...
Holy shit.
There's so much there that's guilt. In other words, when he's drugged, what we see are impossible scenes that he couldn't have known. We also see scenes he couldn't have been in.
Yeah.
We also see what we assume is his imagination. But in that imagination, what is addressed? We see him first, the beautiful Asami attacking him, wanting to give him a blowjob. Like, come on, I need to suck you. And then right after that, she transforms into his secretary, who says, "Why did you have sex with me just that once? I thought we were going to have more." Yeah. So that, that's huge because earlier on in the film,
she says she's engaged.
She says there's a scene early in the film where the secretary goes to him and says, "I just want you to know I'm going to get engaged." And she's not the prettiest girl. And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to know. Thank you." And then he tells her again, she tells him again later on, a few scenes later, it's like, "I'm going to get married. I'm going to go off." It's like, "Oh, okay." It's fine. And then you think it's just, oh, how cute. She has an unrequited thing with him. Like she's had a crush on him for this whole time. And he just never reciprocated. I guess he's looking for something better. But later on, in the fantasy portion, or that after he's drugged, we see that she says to him, "Why did you have sex with me just that one time?"
Yeah.
And I thought something more was going to come. So that guilt's really there.
Lover, yeah.
It's all of this, this, you paint him in the beginning, the director and the actor, and they paint him as exactly the myth of the good guy, which we all ascribe to. It's like, I'm a good guy. Right?
Yeah.
We all think that. We're all good guys. He thinks he's a good guy. He's painted as a good guy.
He thinks he's a good guy. Tama.
Yes, he does. He does.
All of that.
He thinks he's a good guy.
He thinks he's a good guy. He doesn't see any of it. Look at how he'll say, like, "Oh, she's only 24, but she's so mature in her essay. It's so mature for her age."
Mm-hmm.
That's every one of my friends who's dated someone way too young for them. "Oh, no, you don't know her. She's way mature for her age."
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you. You know what you're doing.
Yep.
And even
please.
Even the son calls it out, diba? And then parang the son's just like, "Well, I'm closer to age. To her age, but all right."
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
It's so normal.
It's so normal. When he sees his son's girlfriend earlier on, you think it's nothing. He just goes, parang cute. Like behind the son's back, he makes a gesture like, "Oh, your girlfriend's cute." And then later on, when it's all drugged, all young, cute women, including his son's girlfriend, are in that weird, twisted thing in his head.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no good. I mean,
Yeah, galing kasi his foil is his best friend, Buddy, who's like this obviously caricaturishly bad guy. And then he's supposed to be the same. He's supposed to be the nice one. But all these little underlying awfulness of being like that's kind of par for being a guy. Parang nandyan pala.
Guys are shit.
My question is,
we're garbage.
Yeah.
My question is, after having mentioned all of this, that it's so self-aware that men are garbage. Was it a happy ending that she died at the end for you guys?
No.
I don't see how this could be a happy ending at all.
No,
I don't even
all.
know what this is really a very postmodern thing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, she's watching him. He watches her die. She's on her side. She's dead. She's been thrown down the stairs. Her neck is broken. And there, as he looks at her, he sees her saying all the things he wanted to hear.
Mm-mm.
You know, all the things,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, you're not like other men. You're so warm. You're so, you know, it's like, it's so hard for me to connect to, you know.
Yeah.
And then, so, you know, she's saying these things. Again, I can't help but compare it now that I see it again to Gone Girl. That myth of the, you know, the perfect girl that every guy wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how girls have to conform to that. And that's just the way the world works. If you don't conform to that good girl, this game girl who wants sex all the time, who does it, you know, then you're...
I mean, maybe that's why she's always in white, you know? Because you want the virgin, you know? Like, for him, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All those questions that they asked all the auditionees, diba?
Yeah.
They're all about sex. I mean, that was a red flag at the beginning already.
Yeah.
You're like, these two fucking like middle-aged men are just asking all these young people about you know, sex. Are you comfortable with having sex? And it's just over and over. And it's like, wow, yeah. This is men are trash.
That we are. But again, you know, I want to direct films. I want to audition people. I love auditioning people. I have to always be aware of this power imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be aware of it because it's a real thing and because it's, you know, it's a problem. You know, it's a real problem. It's so easy to abuse it. And I think all men would aren't that far from abusing it. I'm not saying all men would abuse it, but we aren't that far. You know, I don't know. I think I can honestly say I've never done it. Knowingly. I've never tried to abuse it. But
no, but I do love that you're so aware of this. This is something that not a lot of people are open to kind of being aware to. And I've been watching a lot of TikToks on women's liberation.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I love it.
Yeah. It's educational.
Yeah. So this girl, she's a Harvard graduate. She was talking about how you always hear women saying things like, oh, I can do anything a man can do. I can do anything a man can do. But why is it that men don't say things like that? I can do anything a woman can do. And that's sort of what might create the shift from patriarch to kind of smash the patriarchy. Because instead of just seeing women as equals, like, oh, she's competent for a woman, like, oh, we're equals, men should start being inspired by women as opposed to just being impressed by women. So instead of just saying, oh, magaling siya, the true shift will happen when men start saying, oh, I want to be like her. Oh, I want to do things like her. And that's the only time things are going to shift. So with people like you kind of opening up these conversations, I think there's a chance. Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
I'm trash. I'm trash. No, I have to be aware because I'm trash. I'm actually very lucky. My partner is an excellent filmmaker and beautiful, and so it's like something that I can at least lean on. That's someone that I can ask to check me also.
Right.
But left to my own devices on the worst day, I don't, again, this is going out to the public. If any woman I've ever auditioned feels I've taken advantage, I want them to contact me because I don't think it's happened.
Right.
But, who's to say? Who's to say what we're blind about? This man thought he was a good guy. I think I'm a good guy, and that's a myth,
Right. Yung not all men nga.
Not all men bullshit. Yeah,
Not
absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? Because this imbalance exists. It's so clear, right? I mean, there's a push now to have more women directors, and I'm so happy about it.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's whenever there's a directors group, it's just an old boys club. It's just us, just men.
And it's not just your industry. It's very interesting because I do comedy and I'm friends with a lot of stand-up comedians who tell me like, Aaron, there are no girls doing open mics. Like, why are there not enough comedians? Oh, because all your jokes are about dicks and masturbation. Like, we don't want to be around that. But that's also what's happening. Like, if you look at the top comedy podcasts in the Philippines, it's all headed by male comedians. There are not a lot of women comedians. So it's really, there is a power imbalance, and it's got to change, man. But I think men are capable of changing at the very least. You may be trash, but I think there is effort. If you put effort in it, there is a possibility for men to change.
I'm sure men can change. I mean, I was taught as a kid to hate homosexuals. That was exactly what I was taught. What man wasn't taught that?
Right.
Not to make fun. I mean, I was taught to make fun of gay people.
Yes.
I was taught to put them down and try, tell them. And of course, a lot of that, I'm not the most macho guy. So, anytime I could, deflect anything about not being manly enough, then I would. So that's something that I had to change. So, I mean, and I'm not, I think I've changed, I believe. Because again, how do we know, right?
Yeah.
All we do is try. But I do know that attitude I had as a kid of how to think of gay people, that changed. How I think of women, I think it's changing. But definitely the basic idea of to objectify them or to, or just to see them as a thing to be gotten, that was ingrained. Again, I also got very lucky with my partner. I have to say that again. Because Monster's pretty amazing. It's hard to just objectify her.
I'm glad that you're inspired by her and not just impressed by her.
yes, exactly.
That's pretty cool. That's admirable. And anyway.
There was a CarMax. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go.
There's a CarMax. Is a brand in the US. Ad that just came out. I think a few days ago. It's so funny, dude. It's basically Steph Curry goes up to buy a car. And then he goes up to the salesman, and the salesman's like, "Wow, I did not expect that a 4-time basketball champion would show up and buy a car from me." And then Steph Curry's like, "Hey, I've only won 3." And then he's like, "Oh no, I'm talking about Sue Bird. And Sue Bird is this WNBA legend who's won 4." And I thought that was fucking amazing. Cool. Like, it's so good. Yeah, sorry, off tangent. Okay,
no, not really. That was well within the topic. Inspired by women.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Is it torture porn? I think it kind of is. I mean, it's 30 minutes of real torture, and then that thing with that razor wire, right? And then you see that later on in. I remember when I saw it in Hereditary, right?
Oh yes.
Yep.
Right?
The end when she's.
Yep. Again, you have to think that's an influence. Right.
It's absolutely.
I don't.
Sure.
Yes.
But yeah. I mean,
so gross.
The gore that was very new to me at the time. Also, I mean, that kind of gore. I mean, we'd seen, and those 30 minutes, no music,
none.
Oh, really?
None.
Oh, fuck! I didn't notice that.
Fucking quiet, just no music the whole time. So it's not.
Kitty, 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 kitty,
Yeah.
kitty, kitty, kitty. That's what you hear.
I saw this movie in 2001. I was in New York with Quark Pinares. At the time, I was very into studio films.
Okay.
Studio films, So this was one of the first like real independent films I had seen at the time. So he brought me to this, me and a few other people to this like independent theater. Forgot which one it was. And he's like, "Oh, we got to watch this, Takashi Miike." It's like, "Oh, let's do it." The other day, he had just brought us to watch Mulholland Drive. And that was my first David Lynch. And that was...
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw Aaron's reaction.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, so and then so I was like, really, like, that's fucking incredible. And I came out of this and I was just like, what the fuck did I just see?
Yeah.
Like this was 2001. Like I was pretty young back then, and I was like, wow. Like I was blown away. It was unlike anything I had seen.
Yeah.
Before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. I have Quark to thank for that.
So I have to say the reaction of Monster and Corinne, I understand where they're coming from in the sense that the whole revenge thing is parang cool. Like, okay, yeah, cool. But it's just the dismembered feet, and that's the stuff that gets me. It's not so much what happened to him. Like,
yeah,
sure,
that's fine.
Yeah,
but it's the stuff.
He deserved it.
Yeah, if he died, okay lang, whatever. But like, it's the way it happened. It was just
it's the way it happened.
Yeah,
it's also the way he covered it. Like, I mean, there was a lot of gore, but he shot so many reaction shots and really intensified like how you're watching it. Because he really looked like he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think the director just wanted to be jarring throughout the whole movie, because you see cuts that are parang, oh, wait, okay. Like there was this one cut that I found funny. There was music swelling up, this biglang cut, this quiet. I was like, oh. Just jarring. It's like, oh, what happened? What happened? So it switches a lot. And even in that part that Mario said was surreal, that was a lot of just, cuts that just, what? But, we're here now. Parang ganun. It added.
Even in my live reactions to you guys, like, is this a whole fucking dream? I'd feel cheated if it was like, my God, it's not.
Because he did it. He made him wake up in bed next to her at the resort, and it's like, oh, it was all a dream.
Yeah.
He gave you like a minute and a half of believing it was a dream.
Yeah.
And then, but you're right, I would have felt cheated.
Yeah, same.
And then,
yes,
my favorite random cut is like, so it's quiet, right? The whole time she's sticking needles in him, she's sawing off his foot, and all you hear is just what she's saying and what's happening. And then you go outside, and then we're outside, and then it's completely silent. We see it through the porch door, and she just throws the foot.
She throws the foot.
She just throws the foot, and that's all you hear. That's all you hear. And then she's on to the next one. You can't even hear it. Amazing.
It's so masterful. Like,
amazing.
I wouldn't have thought to even do that cutaway shot. And just like, parang galing ng effect na it's on glass. You see blood on it.
He shot so well.
It's so good.
She was so into it. Yung she kept moving positions pa.
Yeah.
Really
I love
it. Yeah. So much joy. She had so much.
Yeah.
We're doing this.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
And then actually the eye, if you remember, like the eye when she was doing it, when she was poking the needles in his eye, it's maybe 2 minutes of just her face like this. Like,
yes.
You can't see what she's doing. Face. And then you reverse at the very end of it.
Reverse, and then you see it like that.
Kitty,
yes,
kitty,
exactly
kitty.
Like that. Just like that, Aaron. Amazing. Like, you're hired.
Like audition pala si Aaron.
I'm trash. I'm so trash.
For the remake.
How meta audition.
Yes. It's amazing. But
guys,
she's right.
Time is a flat circle.
But it was great.
We came back around.
I mean, the listeners can't hear it, but the look that she had when she was, the listeners can't see what Aaron was doing, but the look, it's just like, just quiet.
And parang it was such a nurturing. I'm going to put it exactly here under this part of the eye. Very good. Parang you felt like she knew she was doing a good job.
Then she taps it.
She had the line, you won't know the shape of your heart without pain. In other words, like, it's weird. Like I did a quick Google also for this just to get ready. I watched it again and did a quick Google. But one of the quotes I found from Miike was, he thinks it's just, and how wonderful, he says it's just his opinion, but he thinks she was doing it out of love. She thinks this is how, because of what happened to her, this is what love is like.
That's so interesting. So she loves him more.
She's obsessed
so
by him. She
does
really loves
more
him.
stuff. That's so
Now, I'm not sure I agree with the reading, but because he said it's his opinion.
Sure.
Right. But I found it interesting that was his approach. As she's doing all that, it's out of love, because that's what she knows love is. All this pain, all this association. That's why that line is there where pain, you need pain to know the shape of your heart.
She had very good lines. I super enjoyed the writing when she was torturing him and killing him. It was so good.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
She was incredible.
It was incredible.
She was
incredible.
Yeah.
Not only is she incredible, she's an incredible actress, but my God, her face.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's so striking, like all the close-ups, and then like honestly, she looks dead inside. She looks dead inside, and she looks terrifying. Like
one interesting thing that I remember just now, because you said she looks dead inside, was the line in the beginning where they just said, everyone in Japan is lonely.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
During the editing sequence.
Ooh.
When he was, and it was so nice to see an avid editor. I haven't seen an avid in so long. It's like, oh my God, an avid.
I thought that guy was gonna be the gateway into hell for that, like the editor, because he was a bit punk, he was a bit of a raver, but he had a lollipop. I think he was doing drugs.
Yeah.
Parang, oh my God, is this how the situation devolves by his editor? But anyway, parang this would have been a great movie to put side by side with Shall We Dance? Diba? Parang lonely salary man. Parang lonely salary man pareho. Well, you put him an executive. It's bilang, one finds love in the dance floor. The other...
one finds death.
One finds pain.
One finds pain. He doesn't die nga. He finds pain.
Yeah.
I remember
and he learns.
One of the scenes I remember so well that was flashed back to when he was in the bar, right? And the first thing he sees all these girls laughing. And say, ugh. Because when you're in Japan, if you're laughing too loud, it's like, oh, so gosh. And then it was a group of girls laughing so loud. How can you find good girls? Look at them. So these girls enjoying themselves, having a good time are like, yuck. You know, what we want are the traditional, nice, sweet, beautiful.
Yeah. We want the runner-up. We don't want the lead actress.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, yeah.
And then so when you flash back to that later, to that bar scene again, I mean, it just reminds you. I mean, that's part of that weird surreal
I
thing
have
that happens at the
questions
end.
about that actually, because there were cuts where they're talking on the date, it's normal, and then in the next shot, biglang all the people are gone. But in the shot before that, there were people talking in the background, and they do that twice with the restaurant and with the diner.
Are you talking about in the flashback at the end during the torture, or during the dates?
Actual date?
The actual dates had jump cuts.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And some of the jump cuts are completely, like, it's just someone talking and then jump cut. But it's, so I assumed it was just to show the gaps. Like that, that this is that way later on when you see her talking. Because in the first dates, when she talked about her family, they're nice, average people. We love each other just as much as is average. And then when you see a flashback, when he's being tortured, we see a whole family history that she puts out. I was assuming that jump cut at that portion during the dates were to signify all the stuff that she's leaving out. And that maybe he's leaving out also. I don't know.
I assumed naman that when they started taking out the people, it was the director was giving us the feel na parang, oh, they feel like it's just the two of them. Parang like that.
Possibly.
May ganun din. Or that's how the girl sees it. It's just, you just love me, right? So it's just the both of them. But I don't know, man. I don't know film.
No, that sounds correct also. But there were the jump cuts that are just the face. You get it? And no other people around. I mean...
And gitnang-gitna.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Big face, big head, as Hitchcock used to say. It's just a big head. And then you just jump cut to him talking again. And I think those were the first jump cuts. They had jump cuts later on also when the two were arguing. Like, she disappeared when the best friend and him were arguing in like a boardroom. There was a lot of jump cuts since that was going on also. I don't know what these jump
there
cuts
were a lot of
signify.
shots that I found parang, what are you trying to say, sir?
Yeah.
What are you trying to say with this? I'm learning from Chris and Miguel. This is purposeful. What is this shot about?
Oh, no, you saw it. I hate this guy.
A lot of the time, I don't know.
He's mocking us.
Like, what is that surreal thing at the end? Really? I mean, Is it meant
I
to
don't
be
know.
very
It's-
expressionistic? Is it meant to be?
Because it's
Postmodern.
expository because it explains, it gives you so much backstory,
Yeah.
but it's also surreal.
Mm.
Nah, it takes you out of the whole experience. So it's like, I don't know, it's like what you trust is truth, and what is not. I don't know. I really don't know.
I just
But,
chalked
mean,
it
like,
up to, it's Japanese. They do weird shit
Yeah,
sometimes.
Also.
exactly.
But I
But-
think you could say it's all true. I mean, that flashback is
Yeah,
the
right.
most true part, right?
Yes, because it explains everything.
It explains everything. It shows how he feels about women. The secretary, the girlfriend of his son.
The girlfriend of
His-
his son.
his wife
that
shows
was
up.
really shocking to me because I do not remember that at all. And when I watched it again yesterday, and I saw that, I was like, "Oh fuck, that's pretty disturbing."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, because I immediately thought of him as a perv.
Yeah.
Watching it now in 2021,
Yeah.
seeing that he's so much older, every girl he auditioned was so young.
Yeah.
And then seeing this, and I was like, seeing the vision of his son's girlfriend. I was like, so this guy is. I mean, he's a fucking pervert.
Yeah.
Like he really
Yeah.
is.
He says to her, "Stop," and then she goes to him, "You're hard. What are you talking about? You've got a hard on. Please."
Yeah.
She said it's the son's girlfriend that says that to him, not another woman, not Asami.
Yeah. I like that. The moment of silence as we all took it in.
As we all contemplate our little.
Our lives, and then men are trash. Oh, just a side note. So the other day, like, I had a friend, a female friend, who posted on Facebook that she was basically kind of harassed on Facebook. And then in the comments, I posted, "Men are trash." You know what happened? Facebook banned me for posting for 24 hours because someone reported me. And who reported me?
A man!
Malamang, that was a fucking man. And that means he was weak.
Of course.
Fucking trash.
Fucking trash.
Like, it's like, really, dude? You took offense to me calling men like, Jesus Christ.
You don't have to. I don't think we have to worry about those people. I mean, except for the fact they get you banned, right?
Yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, Anyway.
Anyway. So before we head out, really quickly, I'm very curious about your because you chose Audition, fantastic film for us to talk about today. What were your? I'm very curious to see to find out what the other films you were kind of contemplating and bringing us.
The main one I was thinking of talking about was "Don't Look Now" by Nicholas Roeg.
Yes.
Roeg. I don't know how to pronounce his Dutch name. Roeg, R-O-E-G. Has anyone seen "Don't Look Now"?
Yes.
I have. I love it.
It's amazing.
Aaron has a very deep connection to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
My dad is super into it. Like that's his scary movie.
it is.
The
It's-
scary movie.
It's another one where it's about, I mean, what actually happens on screen isn't as scary as what it wakes up inside you.
Yes.
And I have just a very quick connection to that film. I mention it over and over many times because I think it has either my favorite edited sequence of all time or my second favorite edited sequence of all time, which is for those who have seen it, it's when Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie are having sex, and it's intercut with them after having sex. Okay, it's the big sex scene. There's a big sex scene there.
Apparently, that they actually really did have.
No, that's a myth. Complete myth. It's one of those urban
Complete myth?
legends.
Okay,
They did not.
Okay.
They did
One
not.
of those are urban legend. Okay.
I only watched that film because I had seen a film called Out of Sight with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez.
Love that
And
movie.
they had that amazingly edited sequence.
My favorite sequence. I love that so
Best
much.
editing ever, right? That's why I said first or
Best
second.
ever.
So
It was taken from there.
yes. So I listened to the director's commentary of Steven Soderbergh when he was talking about the time. So for those who haven't seen Out of Sight, there's this beautifully edited sequence of a conversation of Jennifer Lopez and George Clooney sitting at a bar
in a
talking
restaurant. Yeah.
about what could happen, intercut with them having sex in the future. And I thought I had never seen an edit like this. And then I listened to the director's commentary and he said, I stole it completely from Nicholas Roeg in Don't Look Now, which is why I watched Don't Look Now. But the reason I keep bringing up these two films is the last film I made, which is like 6 years ago, was the editing style was completely inspired by those two sequences. I do it. I stole from it and did it over and over and over again.
That's fine.
But that was the point.
Yeah.
In other words, I showed that to my staff before we started shooting. This is how it's going to look. This is how the feeling, these edits have to be a mix of moving through time of doing, and I just did it over and over again. And so that film, Don't Look Now, is forever in my, I can't stop referring to it, but it's mainly because of that lineage of from Out of Sight to Don't Look Now. And then later on, I started watching other Nicholas Roeg. You could call Walkabout a horror film if you've seen Walkabout.
Yes.
You could definitely call that a horror film in a way.
Absolutely.
But anyway.
Well, that's super. Oh, by the way, just as an aside, do you know who Aaron's stepdad is?
I'm sorry? No.
Do you know who Aaron's stepdad is?
Who's your
Nap
stepfather?
Hamir.
Oh my God!
Yes.
No kidding! I love Nap!
Parang this piece is always the biggest deal to everybody.
Right? It's all exactly.
Yeah.
I've actually, he's lit for me like maybe twice.
Yeah.
But I love him. He's great.
Well, I edited all his modules.
No shit, really?
It's so good. I set up his Zoom calls.
Set up his Zoom calls.
He was a friend of my
Recurring
father
meeting.
also. My father was a photographer way back in the day. So Nat and my father used to hang out a lot. So yeah, they were,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, well, I didn't know that until I saw Maximo Oliveros. And then when I watched Maximo Oliveros, which he lit amazingly and shot amazingly. And then later on, my dad would say, yeah, I'm friends with Nap. It's like, what? You're friends with Nap? So I got to know him a little bit.
I don't know if I told you this, Chris, but both of us we took short courses at the New York Film Academy, diba? And then when I had gotten home, this was like in the mid-2000s, I took a 2-week workshop under Nap in UP.
Shit.
Yeah, and I was telling everybody that, fuck, I learned so much from Nap in those 2 weeks. And the fucking
More than
8-week course I took in. Parang, kumbaga, parang nagmukhang nag-New York lang ako. I just had an excuse to go to New York, to live in New York for a while. But to be honest, if I wanted to learn, I would have just taken Nap's course. Parang from before pa. That's so good.
I love Nap.
Yeah.
I haven't seen his work. Has he done a film recently in the last few years? No.
What he's been doing recently is TV. Not a lot, but GMA, yeah.
Okay.
He's been working with Rico Gutierrez.
He's lit for me on maybe 1 or 2 projects for commercials. It was always a joy. He's amazing, of course.
Yeah.
I saw a poster once of him and he was like he was 13 artists in like 1978 or something like that. Like literally before some of us were born. So.
Yeah. And he takes his work so seriously. There were times where I'd be like,
an artist.
He was the only one home. Can you take my VTR real quick? I just need to smile to the side. And then he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Maya, he brought out lights. I'm like, no. Just the sun. No. It's better if it's you see the
The man's an artist.
Right,
don't tell him how to light you.
just take it, Aaron.
Just take it. Tell him hello when you next talk to him. Hello from Mario Cornejo.
I will.
Make him listen to this pod and then hear us all fanboy over him. That's
for sure.
That's embarrassing.
I tried to
50-minute
mention
mark.
it every time we have a guest who's in prod.
Yeah.
I try to mention it all the time.
Yeah, it's always Chris who's like, oh, Aaron has a connection to this. I'm like, wow, siya na naman.
Well, if you're, your stepdad's kind of a legend. So what
That's
can you
true.
do?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
What can you do?
Okay. Anyway, I guess we gotta wrap up, guys. But how we usually do it, Mario, is we have a final word on Audition. So we usually start off and then we end with our guest. So does anyone want to go first?
Me, I'll start.
Damn it.
So I did not hate the movie. I did not. But I don't know if I would recommend it. It's just one of those, it's really, really gory. So that's my only issue with it. But the story was very interesting. I love Japanese movies in general, even the weirdest ones. It's just fascinating the way that they make things come out on screen. So I do love the discussion that this brought around, though.
I know.
Movie. Amazing.
That was fun.
Yeah, really good discussion. So that's me.
I'll go next, Chris, so that you and Mario can go last. I think I enjoy this more than I thought I would. But usually, if it's a Japanese horror film, I get really tense. But this one, like I said, it's not enjoyable, but it was super affecting. Like, I love sure, it's a torture and gore film, but that's just, as I said, it's just a feature. It's really a bit of a drama about two people who were really hurt in the past, and also para a peek into that very unique cultural psyche, I think, which I enjoyed.
Awesome. For me, naman, I think I like Mario. I related to the time I saw it in 2001 and when I saw it again yesterday. I had two very different experiences. The first time I saw it, I was just blown away with how, I guess, shocking it was, how visceral it was. But now it's like watching it as a much older adult in this time and age. I had a much deeper, not just understanding of it, but respect of it. But again, I guess respect in the sense that I guess it's either stuff that I'm trying to put into my interpretation of it, or just trying to understand certain things where I didn't think the movie was about misogyny when I saw it in 2001. I thought it was just a fucking horror film about a woman sticking needles into someone's eyes. But now it's just like my takeaway is men are trash, as always. And it should be your takeaway anyway. But yeah, so yeah, it was an incredible experience in 2001. Incredible experience watching it again yesterday. So thank you again, Mario, for choosing this.
Yeah, I'm happy to introduce the film to anyone who hasn't seen it. I know it's going to be a weird experience if any of your listeners are going to try to listen to this without having seen the film.
I know.
I actually hope nobody does. But yeah, I'm happy I saw the film. It did open my eyes to a different kind of horror also. I don't think I'd ever seen anything like that. And I think that deep thing I felt, that shame I felt about myself, it kind of really deconstructed what I did for a living, how I viewed myself as a nice guy. I think that's why it hit me very strongly back then. I mean, even just on a very surface level, just that feeling of guilt that I had, it forced me to look at the guilt, and I think the way that he made it so powerful was by attaching that awful, visceral torture scene at the end. So you have the big ideas and then you attach it to something so visceral, so deeply felt that I think that's why it's an impression. It made such an impression on me those many years ago, more than 15 years ago, probably. And I'm glad I got to revisit it again. So thanks for having me.
Hey.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Mario.
All right. Nice to meet some of you. Nice to see some of you again.
Thank you again so much. It's been an honor to have you on. Mario, before you head out, is there anything you want to plug?
No, not really. I'm working on, we're always working on something. There's something, but nothing.
I hope you're working on a horror film.
There's a horror series we've actually been banging our heads against for about more than 2 years now. I think it's going to be kind of awesome.
It's always our request from our director guest. Horror movie.
I mean, we don't even have we've gone through a lot of iterations on it, and we don't. Our heads are still kind of so. Okay. Yeah, it's the next big thing I'm working on. I'm always working on something small, but the next big thing we're working on, I think, should be that very, very scary horror thing.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait at all.
It'll take a while.
I'm so excited for that. I will wait. Don't worry. I will.
All right.
But thank you. Thank you again,
Thanks
Mario,
so much.
for coming on.
Nice to see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Oh, stop believing. Oh shit! I'm still recording.